apply it a little bit differently. So, at the 5, I gave you a rhythm or a pace in which to shoot. Those paces had a side product or a byproduct of movement in the dot. Remember I talked to you what my dot or my sights look like. All right, so when we were at about that 1 second in between shots rhythm or pace, what did my dot look like when the gun fired?
The dot?
Stable dot, fire. Stable dot, fire. Stable dot, fire, so on and so forth, right? We're going to apply that same methodology here, but we're using the dot or the sights as opposed to the rhythm, okay? We need to start incorporating what the sights are doing now to allow us to get those bill drills the way we want them. So we're going to start off and we're going to let that dot be stable. Then we're going to ramp it up a little bit. What did the dot look like on those half-second splits? That kind of dot with a tail or a shifting dot, maybe not quite stable at the end, but a little more refined at the end. We're going to do that exactly the same way at 7. We're going to let that dot tell us when it's appropriate to shoot, with the understanding that the grip has got to be good, the trigger press has got to be good, and you've got to have returned the gun to the spot, relatively the same spot it left from. Then finally what we'll do is exactly what we did at those quarter-second splits or faster when we started shooting the streak. We're going to allow that streak to do what it needs to do, understanding that as soon as that streak is inside the A zone, it's good enough. It's good enough to press the shot as long as the grip is good and the trigger press is good enough. Let me show you what this looks like. Now, I do care when the shot timer goes off. I'm going to show you 2 different ways that shooters approach this. All right? The first thing, however, I need you to see. Oh, shit. I don't know which target's mine.
Yeah, you're on the one that says down on the bottom of it.
All of them say down over there.
Well, the bright red one.
All right, so I'm gonna let the dot, tater tots, what?
Dot.
I'm gonna let the dot dictate my pace of shooting, returning the gun to the same spot it left from every time. Eyes and ears, guys. Pay attention to the gun. Pay attention to the gun.
Are you ready?
Ready?
Stand by.
So that was a little faster pace than I wanted to, but for me, that's a completely stable dot right at the end. All right? Good enough. Can we agree that I pretty much returned the gun to the same spot again? Yes. What did the gun look like? Boom, 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 boom. I'm prioritizing the aiming. The longer you let a gun hang in recoil, the less time you have to aim the gun. Start aiming the gun sooner. How do I start aiming the gun sooner? I return it to the spot it left from sooner. Boom, right back to where it left from. See a stable dot, press the shot, all right? One of the things that a lot of shooters, and this isn't necessarily wrong, they'll approach this like this.
Stand by.
Can we agree I returned the gun to the exact same spot every single time? Was my pace slightly slower? Yes, it was. The dot was more stable. Did I return the gun to the same spot every single time? Cool. But here's the problem. How long from the time the timer went off to when I shot the first shot? 1.5. Quite a bit of time. This is where we get into the concept of anchoring shots. And it's one of the things that I see individuals that shoot bill drills a lot always lose time on. All right? That first shot is not an anchoring shot, because what people do is they get the gun out, they find the dot, and they're like, all right, I'm about to rip 6 rounds. Bam, 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 bam. That is not a good way to approach bill drills, all right? The grip is the grip, from the draw all the way through the shooting process. The grip is the grip. Stop over confirming the first shot. It's not going to help you on the subsequent shots. See only what you need to see, break the shot. Now on the first one, again, we're going to get a stable dot. Once it's stable, press the shot, let it return. Once it's stable, press the shot. Return the gun to the same spot it left from.
Guys, that overconfirmation is not always overconfirming sights.
Yeah.
A lot of times
More
it's
often than not,
over-confirming
not.
grip.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm about to rip 6, so I need to grip the gun harder or completely different than I would if I were just going to draw and fire 1 shot or draw and fire 2 shots. And the longer the string, the more we tend to over-confirm grip pressures on the pistol because we don't trust what our initial grip pressures are on the gun. We've got to refrain from that. You need to start building whatever level of structure and consistency from the very start and trust that that is enough. If it's not enough, fix that. Don't add more mid-string. As you guys were starting to explore just the speed itself of what the gun was doing, right? Well, we had with complete disregard to at the times it was just 1 and 2 and 3, or it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you guys started to explore adding more speed, what happened to some of your guys' grip? Were you even paying attention? Did you notice grip tension start to increase with the dominant hand? I'm sorry for all you wrong-handed people. Your dominant hand, as you start to crush down on the gun more, like I need to return that gun harder, faster, sooner, whatever. And in order to do that, you stopped trusting what had worked for 2 other strings of fire before, and you said, now I need to add more. But when you add more, the byproduct of adding more is now I'm adding more with the incorrect hand, or sometimes with both hands, and then things like now I can't speed up my splits as fast because I'm running into triggering issues. I've got too much tension built up with the dominant hand. Or worse, and yes, there is something worse than trigger freeze, or worse, every single subsequent shot you fire, which direction does the gun start to go? I start to add more pressure and steer the gun lower and lower. Or if I'm a pusher, hi guys, I'm Tim. Remember me yesterday talking about pusher? We start to push against the gun and we start to drive the subsequent shots higher and higher. That is a byproduct of you adding more tension than you needed to because you didn't trust the initial structure you built on the pistol. You've got to trust it and know what you applied to the gun to begin with. If it worked for 1 shot, 2 shots, if it worked for 1 second intervals or it worked for half-second intervals, it's going to be enough to work for quarter-second or even faster intervals. You just have to trust it. You don't need to add more. Okay? All right. Hey, Jim Zito.
All right, 7 yards.